In the distant future, Earth was dying. Overpopulation and greed had drained its last breath. Faced with extinction, humanity built its last hope, a massive interstellar ark called the Elysium. It was designed to carry 60,000 people on a 123-year journey to Tanis, a distant planet that promised a second chance. The passengers were sealed in hypersleep, preserved in silence, while small crews would rotate in and out of stasis to maintain the ship. 8 years into the voyage, Earth sent one final transmission. "You're all that's left of us. Good luck. God bless. And Godspeed." After that, there was only silence. Time passed. How much no one knew. Deep in the sleeping belly of the Elysium, 2 crew members, Corporal Bauer and Lieutenant Peyton, awakened. Their minds fogged with amnesia, their bodies weak from stasis. They didn't remember who they were or even how long they'd been asleep. And something felt wrong. The ship groaned. The power flickered. And a sickness clung to the air. With the bridge locked and the power failing, Bauer volunteered to crawl through the ventilation system in search of the reactor. Peyton stayed behind to try and reboot the system. But as Bauer moved deeper into the darkness, he began to sense he wasn't alone. Shadows moved where they shouldn't. Whispers echoed through the metal halls. Then he saw it, something rush past. Human-shaped, but wrong. Following the trail, he found a disemboweled body, its flesh torn open like a warning. Suddenly, a woman leapt from the shadows, pinning him to the floor. Her blade traced the curve of his neck, not cutting, just testing. She spoke in a language he didn't understand. Then, without a word, she took his boots and vanished into the dark. Moments later, another man emerged from stasis. A mechanic named Shepard. Confused, terrified, and coated in panic, he mistook Bauer for a rescue team. Then he began dousing himself in oil, masking his scent. He warned Bauer to run. "They're coming," he said, eyes wide. When Bauer demanded answers, Shepard just shook his head. "There's no chain of command anymore." Then they heard it. Screeches. Footsteps. A swarm. And out of the shadows came the creatures, pale, fast, and monstrous. They didn't speak. They didn't hesitate. They only killed. Shepard was taken first, his screams swallowed by the walls. Bauer tried to fight them off with a non-lethal weapon he'd found, but it was useless. His only choice was to run. Deeper into the ship, Bauer met 2 other survivors, a woman named Nadia, fierce and suspicious, and a farmer named Man, silent but strong. They didn't trust him, but they knew the ship was dying, and together they pushed forward. Along the way, they found Leland, a cook who had been awake for years. He had survived by drinking from pipes and feeding on algae and sometimes human flesh. Leland had lost track of time, but not memory. He'd seen what had happened. In his room of drawings and madness, Leland told the truth. Earth was gone. Something had happened, a catastrophe no one had expected. The last message drove one man insane, Corporal Gallo. He snapped, killed his own team, and infected others with his madness. The condition was called Pandorum, a psychological break caused by deep space trauma. Gallo used it to unleash chaos. He incited a tribal culture among the survivors and then went back to sleep, leaving his madness to fester. But that wasn't all. The passengers were given an enzyme to help them adapt quickly to Tanis. But something went wrong. Over hundreds of years, the descendants of the infected mutated into cannibalistic creatures. The monsters now hunting Bauer and his companions weren't aliens. They were what remained of humanity. Leland tried to gas the group and eat them, but Bauer stopped him. He made him see reason. The reactor had to be fixed or the ship would die. And with it, any hope of salvation. The group moved forward. Along the way, Bauer paused at the family pods, hoping to find his wife still alive. But in that moment of stillness, the memories returned. She hadn't come. She had chosen to stay behind on Earth. She was gone. That realization broke something in him, and the line between sanity and madness began to blur. Still, they pressed on. When they reached the reactor, it was surrounded by sleeping mutants, curled up like animals beneath the heat. Bauer crept across a narrow walkway to reset it, but the structure collapsed beneath him. He fell into their pit. As the creatures stirred, Man created a distraction, buying Bauer enough time to reach the controls. With one desperate push, the reactor roared back to life, blasting radiation and killing many of the creatures. Man fought the mutant leader, slaying him. But when he hesitated to kill a mutant child, he paid with his life. Elsewhere, Peyton wrestled with his own demons. He'd been speaking with Corporal Gallo, or so he thought. But in a horrifying twist, it was revealed that he was Gallo. The real Peyton had died long ago. Gallo had killed him and taken his pod. The amnesia made him forget. The ship had protected him from his own memory. Now the truth was out. And Gallo, fully broken, killed Leland and opened the bridge shutters, revealing only blackness. No stars, just endless dark. Bauer arrived and saw it too. The sight shattered him. Gallo whispered that civilization was dead. And it was better this way. Savage. Free. But then Nadia saw something, a flicker of light in the abyss. Strange, glowing creatures swam just beyond the glass. They weren't stars. They were fish. Bioluminescent life. The Elysium hadn't drifted into space. It had landed. Somehow, hundreds of years ago, it had reached Tanis and descended into its ocean. Then the computer spoke. 923 years had passed. The ship had been underwater for over 800 of them. The revelation snapped Bauer's mind. He imagined a mutant attacking. In his panic, he shattered a window. Water poured in, flooding the bridge. He and Nadia climbed into a hypersleep pod and ejected. As they launched upward, the breach triggered the ship's emergency protocol. One by one, the remaining 1,211 untouched pods were jettisoned. Behind them, Gallo and the creatures were swallowed by the sea. Bauer and Nadia burst through the ocean's surface. Around them, lush green land stretched across the horizon. They had made it. After centuries of chaos, madness, and survival, humanity had found its new home. And as the sky filled with ascending pods, the future of Earth's last survivors finally began.